Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am the biblical mystic, and this video is a breakdown of the story of Noah and the flood. And this video is also used for the Noah fast. If any of you are doing the Noah fast, okay? So, again, I am the biblical mystic, and I teach the Bible from a metaphysical point of view. And what that simply means is I reveal the mysteries and what is hidden in the Bible. That's it, okay? So, if this resonates with you, come on in. If it doesn't resonate with you, you're free to leave. So, when I read the Bible, I read it as a book about me. When I read this book, I'm reading about me. I am every character in it. I am God. I am the devil. I'm Paul. I'm Moses. I'm Solomon. I'm Jeremiah. I'm David. These are stories about me. And I'm reading about my capabilities. I'm reading about the polarities that are in me, the darkness, the light, So that's what these stories reveal to me. Okay. One of the things that I think has done us no good is that we only have been able to see this book from one dimension, right? All we just see it as a history book. There is no connection to us outside of that. And I think the danger in that is that you lose different angles of God when you only see this book one way. You lose these different perspectives when you only know this book by what has been inherited, what has been recycled or regurgitated to you generation after generation. And as you all know, so much has gotten lost over time, right? So if you never do the work to expand your information pool, if you never allow God to reveal some deeper truths to you about this book, you miss so much and you leave space just for that junk memory to fill. So you have to do the work. You have to do the work. And doing the work looks like Abraham leaving his family, leaving what was familiar, stepping away from everything that he knew to follow this voice that was coming from within him, trusting that. That's what doing the work looks like. That's how different things get revealed to us, different understanding comes to us because we allow ourselves to be guided by our faith, by our inner knowing, by our higher selves, okay? Doing the work looks like Jacob wrestling with God, saying, listen, I'm not letting go until you give me what I came here for. I'm not letting go until you bless me. Doing the work looks like Noah. It looks like Noah building an ark, Noah doing something different that end up cleansing the memory of his entire bloodline. And many of you are Noahs. Many of you are out here building an ark and everybody is like, what is you doing? Why are you doing that? They don't get the conversations that you and God are having. They don't get it, but it's not for them to get it. It's for you. So that's what doing the work looks like. And when you do the work, you really get to understand the responsibility that comes with this. Okay. Okay, so let's talk about Genesis chapter 6. And we see in the first 5 verses, man began to multiply on earth. And as man began to multiply on earth, corruption multiplied. And corruption is his thinking, right? He has gotten corrupted from the original plan that God had for man. His thinking has gotten corrupted. And God looked at it and said, he became disappointed with his creation. He was like, I don't like this. I want to start over. I want to reset. So if we looked at this, I told you you're every character in this Bible, right? So if we look at this as from the angle of you being God, you looked at what you created and you don't like it. You disappointed at it. And the truth is, God is within you, right? The truth is, God expresses itself through you. The truth is, all that God is, you are. And sometimes we get lost in that. We get lost in life. We get lost in our humanity. And we forget that we are living expressions of God. We are God wrapped up in flesh, right? Or maybe we don't even know it. This isn't a common teaching. This was something that had to be revealed to me. It took me years to be able to talk freely about this. It took years because I thought it was blasphemous for me to say that about me. But that's the truth, right? That's the truth. That's who I am. That's how God created me, right? So I had to reprogram myself. And sometimes you can take an honest look at your life and at what you created. You might look at your life, you might look at your marriage, you might look at a child you raised, you may look at a career you built and say that I'm not happy with this. You did that. You built that. You created this. And you may say, I don't like it. I'm not happy with this. How can I reset this? How can I start this over? Like God, you look like the God in this story. You looked at your creation and you were disappointed with it. And God decided to reset. He decided to start over. And that's the point of this Noah fast, right? You looked at something and you was like, that has to go. That needs to change. And it can't go with me in my future and where I'm going. So in this, we see God extended Noah some grace, right? Grace is unmerited divine assistance. So imagine saying, okay, Noah, okay, Kim, I'm going to help you. I'm not removing my spirit from you. I'm giving you assistance in your thinking so you can get back on track. We see that when Noah in 6, it talks about how Noah walked with God. This means in this season, Noah became familiar with God again. Noah increased in knowledge. Noah aligned with God, right? Excuse me. And as corruption still grew, Noah was doing his work with God, and corruption still grew in mankind. God instructed Noah, go ahead and start building that ark. Go ahead. Start building the ark. And the ark represents a form of safety. It represents your safe space, the structure that preserves you during transformation. So you must find on this fast, you're going to have to find what your ark is. Excuse me. You're going to have to find what your ark is. What is going to keep you safe on this fast? I knew one guy who did this, and he used it to deal with his addiction. He did a Noah fast to deal with his addiction. And he said, excuse me, this cough. So as corruption grew, God instructed Noah to go ahead. It's time for you to go ahead and build the ark. The ark represents a form of safety, the structure that preserves you during your fast, right? So for those of you that are doing the Noah fast, you have to figure out what are you going to use as your ark. What are you going to use to keep you safe, keep your mind right, keep you where you need to be mentally for this fast? So, and it just depends on what you're doing. I knew you have to figure out what your ark is. For me, it'll be my words. I'll be using mantras, chanting, affirmations. These words will keep my mind renewed and keep my mind on the new direction that I'm taking my life in. So you just have to figure out what you're doing, what your theme is, how you're doing this fast, and you figure out what your arc is. What is going to be your safe space, okay? Your arc is also your defense system. It's your boundaries. It's your circle. It's the people, the habits you choose to carry forward. All of that stuff is going in your arc. So you also have to decide, what am I taking into this new life with me? Because everybody can't go. Everybody can't go. So some things have to be left behind. And these are all decisions for you to take on of what's going with me. Okay. So then we get down to verses 17 and 18 in chapter 6. And these are extremely important key verses. When you read these verses, you have to see yourself in a state of authority, right? Read them aloud. The verse says, I will bring the flood waters to destroy every living thing. I myself will bring these flood waters to destroy every living thing. So once you decide how you're using water on this fast, once you decide how with the water, this is what you speak over your water. If you're going to an ocean, as you're walking into that ocean, I myself, I will bring these flood waters to destroy every living thing, but I will establish my covenant. I will establish my covenant. 17 or 18 are, go read them verses. These are extremely important verses for this fast. You are declaring that I am bringing a flood to wash away what no longer serves me. And in the same breath, you're saying I'm establishing covenant with my higher self to protect what is sacred. So let's move to chapter 7. God tells Noah it's time to enter the safe place. So begin gathering what you're taking with you into the ark. And this is key because this was 7 days before the rain even started falling. So you got rain for 40 days and 40 nights, but 7 days prior, you need to start doing whatever your ark is, whatever you're doing, whatever your safe space is, you need to start utilizing that 7 days prior to your 40 days. Whatever your arc is. So for me, I'm using chants and affirmations. I'm doing my chants and my affirmations 7 days prior to my 40 days. I'm already starting to do them. In those 40 days, whatever you are purging from, you will need to sacrifice it, not give into it, okay? So if we're smoking, we're fasting from social media, negative people, bad habits, whatever you're sacrificing, whatever you're giving up, we're not using it for 40 days. That 40-day window, we're not touching it. Verse 11, it tells you on the 17th day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up and the windows of heaven were opened up. So then that tells me on the 17th day, I need to reinforce whatever I'm doing because it's going to get hectic on that 17th day of this fast. I need to reinforce whatever it is that I'm doing. And that reinforcement is going to help keep you safe from the flood waters. And the flood was 40 days upon the earth, and the waters increased and bare up the ark. It was lifted up above the ark. So your ark, your safe space, is what will keep you out of the danger zone. Okay? Again, we are talking about how to use this story to purge yourself from something you're ready to give up, something you no longer want to have in your life. That's what this is for. You also need to keep in mind, if you decide to do this purge, this water fast, this is this fast took way more than 40 days and 40 nights. This whole process, it took Noah almost a year. You see in, I think it's in verse 6, it says on his 600th day, his 600th year, he entered the ark, and he didn't come out of that ark till the first day of his 601st year. So this was a process of a whole year. So know that this is a season. It's not going to happen overnight. And you have to be prepared to do the work. Whatever it is that you're fasting from, you have to be prepared to do the work, to be consistent, okay? The waters prevail on the earth for 150 days. That's almost 5 months. After 150 days, God began to dry up the waters. And then we see the first thing that was sent out was a raven. So you want to ask yourself, we see a raven was sent out and a dove. So what is the symbology of the raven? So the raven is symbolic for your darkness, your shadow. That's the thing you just sacrificed. And it's going to and fro to see. It's going to and fro to see. Is it still available? Is that desire? Is that thing still there? It want to check to see if it's still alive. Is it alive or dead? And then when you think about a raven is a scavenger. It feeds on what is dead. So the raven never came back. The raven didn't come back. It either faded, it died, or it was able to feed on the dead. It doesn't talk about the raven no more. So we can assume that it either was able to feast on what was dead, the thing you sacrificed, or it died itself. Either way, it's a win for you. Either way. In verses 8 and 9, the dove represents your new mind, your divine mind. It searches for life. It found no life. It found no place to sit, to rest its feet. So it returned back to the ark. It returned. And Noah sent it out 7 days later. And this time the dove returned with an olive branch. So if you're going to do this fast, you want to take in consideration, what will be my raven? What will be my dove? How will you test your strength? How will you test, am I strong enough to lead an ark? Is it safe for me to leave the ark? And I want you to also see this story of Noah as an entire initiation cycle, right? So first we see the cleansing. This is the purge. This is the 40 days and the 40 nights. Then we see the suspension, the months where you're floating, you're on a neutral zone. This space is between who you were and who you becoming, right? So look at that. Then you see the sending out of the birds, you testing the atmosphere. Is it safe for me to leave my ark? Then you see the rebuilding phase of this. Drying of the ground. This is the rebuilding of your life from that thing you just sacrificed. Who are you now? What does your world look like now? What do you want to create now? You were not happy with your previous creation, so you wiped it out. Find scriptures about rebuilding. Look at what the floodwaters left behind. What is salvageable? What can you take and use to rebuild your life? This is how you rebuild. Then you have the covenant, right? And a lot of times we see a rainbow, and rainbows are beautiful, right? We see them and we just, a rainbow, it's so pretty. But the rainbow is a symbol, right? We know it, we say it, it's a symbol. It is a symbol for you to remember what you just had to go through. So you don't sacrifice yourself like that no more. When you see that rainbow, that is there for you to remember, I just went through hell. I just had to rebuild my life. I just had to do this and that. I just came through a flood. That rainbow is there to remind you of that, so you don't go back into your old ways. Okay? So, things for us to reflect on this fast. How might the flood waters appear in your life? Floods are not neat. They are not predictable. Sometimes the flood is symbolic, a person, a challenge, or even that, or an event that exposes what still needs cleansing in your life, right? I told you I knew a guy who did this, and he used it to cleanse himself from addiction. And he was saying how it was a person that every single time this person showed up in his life while he was doing this fast, he knew. He said, And it got to a point he was like, no, let me stay away from them by any means. I don't want to hear their name. I can't mention their name. I can't see them. I must avoid them at all costs. So you have to ask yourself, how may the flood waters appear? The flood is not here to destroy you. It's here to purify you. You are consciously placing yourself in situations that test control over your mind. You will be challenged. So you have to stay anchored, okay? The flood waters represent your ritual. So the ways you work with water, how will you use it? Will you immerse yourself in the ocean? Will you take spiritual baths every week? Will you do foot washes? Drink water intentionally, speaking these verses over your water, 17 and 18 over your water. I don't know, anything that has to do with water. Maybe you are getting rid of something out of your life, so you watch it be flushed down the toilet. Be creative. All of this is symbolic for a change you are trying to manifest in your life. Let spirit lead you. Let whatever resonates with your spirit. Okay? Ain't no rules to this, but the rules you give yourself. So, let your spirit use you on how to use the water on this fast. Be creative. Remember Genesis 6, 17 and 18 are your key verses. And behold, I, even I, do bring a flood of waters upon the earth to destroy all flesh, wherein is the breath of life from under heaven, and everything that is in the earth shall die. But with thee will I establish my covenant, and thou shalt come into the ark, thou and thy sons and thy wife and thy sons' wives with thee. Okay, that's our key verse. I love y'all. I wanted to go over this Noah fast with you guys so you guys are equipped and you have the tools. I love y'all.